to the second game of the round. We've got the Reds and the Crusaders on Friday night as well. The Reds at home in Suncorp. New injuries to report on this one. So Hunter Paisami with a knee injury and concussion. How serious is that knee injury, Harry?
They're setting him for scan, so it must be relatively serious. He came off from a concussion from a clear head high tackle, which was never looked at. Which as a Hunter Paisami fantasy owner, I was pulling my hair out like, what the F is going on? The bloke just got his head taken out, concussed, and they don't look at the tackle. But yeah, apparently they said post-game that he had a knee injury from before that they need to send for scans. So the fact that he was running around relatively freely, hopefully that means it's not too bad. But obviously he's not going to be back this week. And who knows, it might cost him a couple of weeks depending on what the scan results are there. Then you also had Ethan Blackadder to come off with a calf injury. I think he's expected. They haven't quantified exactly how bad it is, but it's meant to be a couple of weeks. So you'd have to think he just twinged it and it's only twinged it. It's only a grade 1 injury probably by the sounds of that. And then pre-game, they lost both Zach Gallagher, who I was expecting to play every minute at lock for the Crusaders until Sam Whitelock was back. They're really, really running out of cattle there. And then Kershaw Sykes-Martin, who I know what you're thinking. Who is Kershaw Sykes-Martin? He was their reserve prop that came off pre-game. They pulled him with a neck injury as well. So, again, just a couple of positions there for the Crusaders where they're starting to have to dig really, really deep.
That's it. They always seem to find someone, though. It can be interesting. So, returning in this one, the only one we have down in the returning column, unless Harry frantically figures out someone while I'm talking, is Tom Liner, just back from, I think it was a week off from concussion.
It was a concussion, but for some reason, the article said that he was definitely going to be gone for 2 weeks, which makes no sense. So, yeah, I would think, although, the stand-down period in club rugby, if you're under 20, I think it is, or 19, is 19 days. So how old's Tom Liner? He might actually go close.
He's 19. I don't think he's turned 20 yet. So.
It's very possible that he's got a 19-day stand-down period. I don't know. I'd actually have to double check where he fits into that. So maybe he won't be back. That would explain it.
Interesting. Yep. All right. And so in this one, the Reds. I don't think we can really see the Reds winning this game, but
come on, spoilers, mate.
No, sorry. Okay, I jumped to the tips there to begin with, but okay. The Reds. Look, the Reds are starting to run the risk of sliding out of the top 8 because they've got a tough couple of weeks ahead of them. They've got the Crusaders and the Brumbies, they just obviously had a surprise loss to the Rebels. So look, whilst there's plenty of positives to talk about, I don't know. I can't see them winning this game, but no, let's talk about the positives. Josh Flute, you want to talk about him, Harry?
Well, yeah, he's, Reg Roberts on Twitter pointed out that he's the first Reds player to score 3 braces of tries. That's 2 tries in a match in a single season since Latham in 2002, and we're only 5 rounds into the competition. But the bloke has this knack. I picked him as first try scorer in this one again. He just has this knack of scoring. He scored this one coming around the blind side of a ruck and getting an inside ball off James O'Connor. Like, what right does an outside centre have to be there? He seems to attack like a winger even when he's playing it outside. And he just hasn't put a foot wrong all year. I think he's been absolutely exceptional. And it wouldn't surprise me if he scores a few more braces of tries this season as well and just sets some sort of outrageous record. He's in some form.
Some would say it's definitely not a fluke then. No, he's looked amazing. And what amazes me is that he's still, I said this about just looking at some of the players when I was down at Super Round. He's still got his grown man. It's got to grow into his body. He's
still in his kid body.
He's still in his kid body, exactly. So no, he's playing some amazing footy, and to hold down that 13 jersey, the Reds is pretty massive. They've got plenty of options there. I was still kind of enjoying the idea of Pataya there at 13, but previously. But at the moment for me, Pataya's, I want to see him in the 15 jersey. I know he just had a good game on the wing. But
well, mate, that's the next question we have here. Who do you go, Jock or Geordie at 15?
Well, I can answer this one very simply. It's if Vunivalu was absolutely lighting it up like the Ferrari that I have kept saying that he is and has just been proving me wrong each week, then it would be a no-brainer. You'd have Geordie Pataya at 15 and Vunivalu on your right wing. But he hasn't been, Vunivalu. So despite signing, was it another 2-year contract, with Rugby Australia, he just hasn't delivered yet. And so, yeah, I mean, you want another wing, like Geordie Petaia, stick him on the right wing, and Jock Campbell's your really safe option at 15.
I have the solution, mate. It's send Vunivalu to the Brumbies. All of a sudden, he'll get confident. His S&C work will be sharp. He'll be doing high-speed work all the time. He'll never tear another hammy. When's the last time that an outside back at the Brumbies tore a hammy? Ever.
Are you just saying it's too hot in Queensland? The muscles are too warm or something?
Mate, the guy's confidence is shot. It's absolutely shattered. The guy needs to go somewhere else, have a fresh start for a mental break more than anything else. But
I'll tell you what, all I want to see is the bloke hit full speed. I haven't seen him hit full speed.
It's not going to happen, mate.
It's like about 3 years or 2 years. You know what I mean? Like the closest I've seen is probably like 60%. You know, and I feel like we're leaving 40% out there in the tank. But anyway, so yeah, sorry to answer your question. I want Geordie Petaia at fullback because I think he looked absolutely incredible the first few games that he started there. I don't even mind if they want to put Jock Campbell on the wing then because Petaia...
that's what I would do as well. I think Jock was more quiet at fullback. And considering how good Petaia's form is, I think you just got to start him there. Jock Campbell will get some opportunities, but he's not the first choice fullback for them. Petaia's playing too well.
For sure. And look, other points for the Reds. James O'Connor, I think he's shown some glimpses of just how good he can be and kind of that real attacking threat, taking the ball to the line and asking loads of questions. Just that, you know, we know he's now a very seasoned head and a really good game manager, but he's kind of shown some glimpses of what we want him to live up to and how to play. And when he's like that, you know, he starts putting players through holes, and the Reds suddenly look really dangerous. So when you combine that with an attacking Tate McDermott, it really makes the opposition have to start answering really difficult questions in D. So that'll be good. And but yeah, with Paisami out this week, it'll be interesting kind of to see. Yeah, a little bit of a different style of play with Isaac Henry. I mean, look, Henry's himself has played 10 before, so he kind of offers maybe a little bit more of a second ball player than Paisami. Not that Paisami doesn't have that skill set, but just I suppose Henry maybe a bit more so. So it'd be interesting to see what that change is like. But like we said, Henry came off the bench last week, was our super sub of the round, and had a really, really good game. So I expect him to go well again.
Yeah, so do I. I don't think they lose a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, and they're up against whilst they've been good, they're up against some pretty inexperienced Crusaders centres. I should take that back. Against an inexperienced Crusaders inside centre in Dallas McLeod. I mean, Brad Nenor is, of course, an All Black, but let's
go. So on that note, let's go to the Leicester Fainga'anuku Crusaders.
Oh, well, cool. I mean,
it's an official team name from now on, isn't it?
It is. I thought we were just going to talk about Fainga'anuku, so I didn't want to move on to the Crusaders until we just mentioned any other possible players. But
I mean, you can't talk about the Crusaders without talking about Leicester Fainga'anuku.
Tell me, have you ever seen someone score such a brilliant try off a line out or a scrum or whatever it was, and bounce off four players, run a certain line and an angle back against the play, and then do the exact same thing again? Have you ever seen that happen?
No. It's like they were just like, he's just like, all right, boys, like, you didn't stop me last time. Why would I change something that's working? Like, good luck tackling me. And he's just like running through these. I still remember coaching the under 14s at school when I was in uni, and one of my most fun things was playing tackle ball rush with them and just running through these kids because, you know, I'm an egomaniac and it made me feel good. But that's how I feel like Leicester Fainga'anuku was in this game, just running at them, laughing as they just swatted the Brumbies away. It was absolutely ridiculous.
It was mental because it was the first one try was at least 4 tackle busts to the line, and the next one was probably a good 3 again. It was crazy. So he's in some rich vein of form right now, Leicester Fainga'anuku, and yeah, good luck stopping him, I think, to the Reds. But no, look, there are other players in the Crusaders that we can talk about, but I agree, it should be referred to as the Leicester Fainga'anuku Crusaders from now on.
I just think that the Crusaders have done so well in the last 2 weeks with their makeshift backline. Like, so many injuries. I think, you know, you mentioned McLeod at 12. I thought he had a quiet game this week, but he's looked exceptional just taking the line on, throwing his offloads. He's good at getting his hand through contact. I think Braden Ennell's just been solid. I think he's never quite looked the athlete that he did it before his serious knee injury a couple of years ago.
Yeah, has he just lost pace? Is that what?
Massively. I honestly think he really has lost a lot of pace. It's the same with Jack Goodhue. So I do wonder in their strength and conditioning. Like, don't get me wrong, I know those injuries can be hard to come back from, but both of those guys have lost so much pace coming back from those injuries. So I wonder if they're just short of some power work or something like that with their S&C, which, to be honest, it's the Crusaders, so that's probably not the case. But it does make you wonder, to be honest. And now, no Sevu Reece. You got Patafilo, I thought has been solid enough. I thought he's looked really solid on the end of a Crusaders back line. And, I mean, there's only one thing missing, and that's Maloney Nanai, let's be honest.
Settle down. Agreed. Like, surely, how has there been this many injuries and we haven't seen Nanai run out? Do you know what I mean? Because he's your first. It doesn't matter which fantasy manager. I don't care where you are on the table. He's your first pick. If he's available and starting, you're picking him. Lucky for Harry, he's on the bottom of the table, so Harry will.
I'll have him. Yeah, I'll take him again, and he'll do nothing for me again.
But no, it is mental. But look, I think it is. It is certainly a bit of a makeshift. It feels like a makeshift backline for the Crusaders, and they have been performing well. Like, they've all just been nailing their core roles. Like McLeod, I think McLeod's a great example of just been running the ball up, making at least a little bit of game line, and just not doing anything too fancy. I think last week was really testing. Like, they beat the Brumbies, but it was just error prone. I don't know if it was just really wet or something, but loads of drop ball kind of across the park. Even from Richie Moe was dropping it quite a lot. I feel like it was probably the most error prone we've seen the Crusaders in years.
I think some of that has to be going to the Brumbies, though. I know they had a bit of a makeshift team, but the way they attacked the breakdown has just damaged every single team they've played so much. And even with I guess a bit of a B team out there, that's going to be the core of how the Brumbies play. So I think it's very hard to execute nearly as well when you're getting slower ball, when the Brumbies are getting up on your hard as well. I think that has to have something to do with it.
For sure. And speaking of makeshift stuff, I mean, look, in terms of the forward pack, obviously they've lost Sammy Whitelock, who'd been absolutely crushing it when he'd been playing. But Scott Barrett certainly stepped up last week and had a really big week. I'm not sure if he's had his All Blacks rest week yet. Which would be
they're saying that he's their only fit lock in their entire squad. So they're meant to rest him this week, but they're actually going to look for an exemption. So apparently they can be given for them to play more than 5 weeks in a row. So I think they're going to try and play him again and then look to give him a rest later on in the season because they just have no one else.
Yeah, pretty much right. And then otherwise with Blackadder to the sideline as well. Cullen Grace is still a few weeks off, so they've got the likes of Sione Havili and Christian Leo Willie kind of filling in, but it certainly hasn't been delivering the same punch and power as a Blackadder Cullen Grace combo.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me there, man. I said draft pick, so you can't have Leo Willie back. Yeah, look, I think Sione Havili has been the better of the two players since starting. I think, my criticism for Leo Willie was that he just didn't look like he knew the team. He hadn't played with them for long enough. I think his work rate was exceptional. He had some big, hard carries, but he just didn't know how to gel with the team. And I suspect that there's a decent chance that Billy will play 8, at least off the scrum, just to play that link role between the forwards and the backs, because, it is such an important role that Leo Willie maybe needs a little bit more time to grow into. But yeah, I do think surely he's the bloke that has to slide in and start, particularly when you've got some of their 6 options having to jump into the second row as well.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that assessment. I think Sione Havili knows how to play as that link man, whereas Christian Leo Willie, what he offers is just those bigger carries that
and work rate in D-Mat. He's been making a lot of tackles.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, what's your tip for this one? I can tell you the line's only 12.5 points to the Crusaders.
Tip for this one, look, I think the Crusaders will win, and I think the Crusaders will win by... You put the number 12 in my head. I'm going to go with 12.
Oh, beat the line, up the Reds. I do not think they'll beat the line. I'm going to go Crusaders by 16, and I reckon I might be underplaying that. I reckon they might get a few more, but 16, I'll be the Wallabies fan, the Aussie fan here.
That's true. Actually, I should have at least said 14 because they're going to win by at least the 2 tries.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.